Hey everyone, welcome again to another short video courtesy of investingsuccess.ca. Today is the 9th of October 2023. In today's video, I want to focus on the price of gold, and notably we're going to look at the price of gold futures. So this is a chart of gold futures pricing 2023 year to date. And I just want to point out a couple things here. Back early May, the price of gold reached an intraday high of $2,085. And a lot of people at the time were expecting gold to go to $5,000 or even more. However, that didn't happen. The price of gold has come down, down, down. There's been some counter trend rallies along the way, but gold has been absolutely smashed. And right now it is trying to test the level that it was at back in February and March. Now, if it can do that, and if it can successfully hold that test, that basically makes a double bottom chart pattern, which is good, and that deserves respect. So why do I think it's going to make that double bottom pattern? Why do I think the price is going to find support in and around this $1,820 mark? Let's explore that thesis a little bit further, shall we? Now here's a very messy chart. Let me explain this here as best I can. In some previous videos on this YouTube channel, I've introduced you to the concept of quantum lines. So this is the gold price chart, and I've overlaid Saturn quantum lines, Neptune quantum lines, the green line with the high slope on it is Jupiter. There's a Pluto quantum line, which actually marked overhead resistance, and that's why in May gold was unable to press higher. That Pluto fourth quantum line was just too much of a obstacle for it to get past. Now, I also look at what I call half intervals of these quantum lines. So it's somewhere down in the 1600 per ounce level is the Pluto third quantum line. But I can calculate the half interval, the halfway mark between the third and the fourth Pluto lines. And lo and behold, it is right where we're at now. So gold seems to be finding support at that Pluto half interval line. Now, the other thing that I want to point out to you is back in November of 2022, gold started to increase, and it rallied through January. It pulled back a bit. It pushed up to its high over $2,000 an ounce in April. Since that time, it has retraced a lot of that gain. And right now, it has actually retraced Fibonacci 48.6% of that November 2022 through late April 2023 rally. I pay close attention to Fibonacci retracements. I take them very seriously. And the fact that we are sitting on top of a Pluto half interval quantum line, and at the same time, we have retraced Fibonacci 48.6% of a prior rally, and we've also got the true strength index in oversold territory. And I would not be shocked to see it start to hook around and in the coming week or so give us a bullish crossover and a trend change. So let's take a look at why else I think that could happen. There's a couple events in history that we have to look at. The first one is what we call the gold fix of 1919. It actually occurred on September 12th, 1919 in London. And that was the day when a group of bankers, I call them men in dark suits, got together somewhere in a oak-paneled boardroom, and it probably smelled of pipe tobacco. And what these guys did in 1919 is they engineered what they called the London gold fix. And that is still with us today. Every morning in London, a group of bankers get together, and you know what, in this day and age, it's probably online over a Zoom call. It may not be a physical boardroom anymore. But they get together every morning in London and they set the price of gold. They fix it. And that London gold fix is what all of the financial instruments around the world that are tied to gold are priced in. In other words, that London gold fix determines how gold-related derivatives are marked to market. And this is a daily occurrence. Now, in 1919, this horoscope chart shows the position of the planets. You had the ascendant at 5 of Scorpio. You had the sun up here at 18 of Virgo. You had the midheaven at 12 of Leo, and notice that Mars was right there. Notice that Neptune is right beside Mars. Now I'm going to show you one other chart, and there is a very peculiar connection between what I'm going to show you and this 1919 chart. All right, here it is. December 31st, 1974, the gold futures contract was traded for the very first time. This horoscope wheel shows the position of the planets, and I'm particularly fascinated with this double peak, this sawtooth pattern as I call it. So the apex points of this geometric formation are Jupiter, Moon, Saturn, Neptune. The ascendant in this chart is 6 degrees of Aquarius. The midheaven is 27 degrees of Scorpio. And the sun is at 9 degrees of Capricorn. Now let's compare this 1974 chart to the 1919 chart. In the 1919 chart, the one shown at the left here, Mars and Neptune are conjunct to one another. In the 1974 futures first trade chart, shown at the right, Mars and Neptune are conjunct to one another. How curiously interesting. That tells me that when the authorities at the New York Board of Trade selected December 31st as the IPO first trade date for gold futures, they knew what they were doing. This date was not an accident. Now, the location of the moon in the gold futures 1974 horoscope at the right, the moon is at 12 degrees of Leo. Take a look at the 1919 horoscope shown at the left. 12 degrees of Leo. That's where Mars and Neptune are located. So by having the first trade date on the 31st of December, this was deliberately picked so that the moon matched where Mars and Neptune were located in 1919. And the ascendant in the 1919 gold fix horoscope is 90 degrees square to the 1974 ascendant in the gold futures first trade horoscope. That's if we assume a first trade start time of 9 a.m., which is a reasonable assumption. And then, if you really think about it, December 31st, that's New Year's Eve. Why would you start a futures contract on December 31st? Nobody's working. They're all off. They're having their Christmas vacation. They're getting ready for New Year's Eve. It seems a bit odd, doesn't it? Well, it's all because of the astrology. They had to have it on that date so that the moon in the 1974 chart aligned to the position of Mars and Neptune in the 1919 chart. And that says that the gold fix and the gold futures, there is going to be a correlation. What those guys decide every morning in London is going to be reflected that day on the gold futures pricing. Now, there have been a lot of people suggesting that the gold market is fixed, it's rigged. Sure. And it's all pertaining to astrology. And that's what people don't get. They think it's a conspiracy theory. No, it's all related to astrology, and it's all deliberately designed. But the average person on the street doesn't understand astrology. They don't understand what's going on. But the bankers in London know what's going on. The bankers in New York know what's going on. And certain big hedge fund players know what's going on. It's all cyclical patterns based on astrology. And in fact, astrology, in my opinion, has played a key role in financial instruments for decades now. W.D. Gann, J.P. Morgan, with help from his personal astrologer, Evangeline Adams, and her picture is shown in the image at the right of this slide. Even guys like Donald Bradley and the Bradley model. These people had it all figured out from the 1920s right through to the early 1940s. They had it figured. Why do you think J.P. Morgan made so much money? Why do you think W.D. Gann made the money that he's reported to have made? They understood the patterns, the cyclicality. They knew that this was all rooted in astrology. But then it all changed. After World War II, the academics at Yale and Harvard were allowed to get involved in the markets. And to be very blunt, and I say this as a former investment advisor in Canada, these academics created utterly bullshit models like the efficiency frontier, the efficient market hypothesis. All of this in the 1940s was designed to divert people's attention away from the cyclical pattern and the cyclical nature of the financial markets. People were told that the secret to the market is to buy and hold for the long term. And if you go back in the history books, when were mutual funds really ramped up and really promoted? After World War II, late 1940s. But the big banking firms in New York, they never lost sight of the astrology. And to this day, they continue to use it. And that's why they make money and the average person on the street struggles. So to wrap up my argument, I think we are headed imminently here for a favorable turn of events in gold price. We've got that Pluto half interval between the third and fourth harmonic quantum lines. That's acting as support. Now, here's why I really think you're going to see a change. In the next several days, Sun is going to start transiting past the 1919 natal ascendant point. And as a matter of fact, I've got that pegged to start at around the 13th of October. Moon is going to follow a day later. Then, sorry, I've made a mistake here. Mars is going to start transiting past. Okay, it's not the Sun. He meant to say Mars. There we go. Mars is going to start transiting past the 1919 ascendant point on the 13th of October. Moon is going to follow shortly after. Sun is going to start its transit past the 1919 natal ascendant point on the 24th of October. So we've got a couple weeks left in the month of October. It's going to be a very interesting time. I really think gold is going to give us a bullish outlook. Now, having said that, I could be wrong. Global events being what they are, geopolitics being what they are, not every astro event is going to trigger a trend change. But every astro event deserves to be watched closely. And I think the next 2 weeks deserve very close scrutiny. And if gold price is going to assume a bullish outlook on life, it's going to happen thanks to Sun and Mars and the 1919 natal ascendant point. So keep your eye on gold price, especially the futures, every day. And keep your eye on that true strength index or some kind of a stochastic, like the slow stochastic or fast stochastic, whatever you follow. Start looking for evidence of a trend change. And I'm not suggesting that gold is going to rally and go to $5,000 by the end of the year. But if we do get this bullish recovery, we're going to start to retrace a lot of what we've lost since the month of May. And that's where your Fibonacci is going to come in again as we claw our way back up. Now, you don't have to go out and buy gold bars. There are ETFs. There are gold streaming royalty type companies that are traded on the markets. The one that I look at here in Canada, and it also trades in New York, is called Wheaton Precious Metals. I think the ticker symbol is WPM. That's the one that I'm going to focus on to take advantage of what I think is a coming trend change. All right, I'm going to wrap this up here. I've got the 2024 Almanac written, and my publisher asked me to simply set it aside for a week or so, which I've done, and now I'm going to start going through it and doing the final edits, and she's going to help me. We want to have this thing out in late November. Visit me from time to time on investingsuccess.ca. I've got my astrology letter, my cycles report. Udemy.com, I've got my courses. I'm also on Substack, and you can follow me there too. So that's it for me. Thank you kindly for listening, and keep your eye on the price of gold. And I'm anticipating a bit of a trend change and an opportunity to get in and hopefully make some money. All right, you all have a good day, and thanks again for taking the time to listen. Take care.